Hello and welcome back to the Olden Shot, and it really is an Olden Shot this time. This is the folding camera I was given by family. It's a family heirloom and it is a folding medium format camera. You see it has bellows, an Ensign Selfix 1620 Model 1, and I know the year of manufacture, it's 1950, because they only made the Model 1 for the first year of production. There were 2 or 3 lenses you could get on this one. This one is the NSAR 75mm f4.5, and it closes down as far as f22. The shutter is Epsilon shutter, British made, like the camera. Excuse me. And it goes from a 25th of a second to a 300th of a second, and there are 4 shutter speeds: 25, 50, 100 and 300. It also has a B setting and a T setting. The B for bulb and the T for timed. I haven't really investigated those. The shutter is operated by this button here, but you have to cock it first with that little lever there. You press the button and that's it. This button is for releasing the front, so you can extend the bellows and the lens. The wind on knob is this one. And you wind your film on until you see the shutter number displayed in the little red box there, little red window. In certain lights it's quite difficult to see. The camera opens up with, there's a little button to push up there. That's your film spool. Your film spool's there, and that's your take-up spool. And of course when you're finished, the film comes out there, and you use the spool that came with the film, put it in there, and that's for your next one. Pressure plate. It's a very simple mechanism, but very well made, I've got to say. The like a lot of these folders, there's a little attachment there so that you can set it up on a wall, which makes it easier to have the camera steady when you're shooting. It also comes with a small cable release which fits into the shutter there, so you should be able to get nice sharp images without camera shake. If you look closely at the viewfinder window, you notice its portrait orientation, because that's where the film is inside the camera. If you want to take a shot landscape, you have to turn the camera that way on. The viewfinder window is tiny, not the easiest to use, especially if you've got the camera, say, set up on a wall and you want to try and look through it to compose a shot. It's not easy. It's not heavy in the way, say, a Zenith is, but it's metal and you can feel it. I loaded it for the journey with Fomapan 200. those of you who've seen my previous videos know that I have mixed feelings about Fomapan 200. One thing can't be denied, it's cheap. And as a first film to run through the camera, that seemed perfect. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a film just to find out that the camera isn't working, or shutter wasn't working, or whatever. So Fomapan 200 it was. And because the camera has no exposure aids, you have to set everything manually, the shutter speeds and the apertures. Focusing is also manual. There's a scale here, but a certain amount of guesswork, and you don't have a depth of field scale on the lens, so you just have to try and use your best judgment for that. Because the camera doesn't have exposure aids, I was determined to get this well exposed, especially as I think Fomapan 200 works better when it's when the exposure is precise. So I've got a smartphone. I downloaded a light meter app, which you can do spot metering on by having the picture on the screen and just tapping the area that you want to measure. And it worked well. It was a free app. You can get a paid for version as well, but the free app, easy name to remember, it's called Light Meter. We went out for the trip. Initially we went to a place called Humford Woods on the edge of Bedlington. It's a deep valley, wooded, and it was late afternoon in the autumn, of course, so the sun was fairly low and I didn't get a shot. Excuse me. The light was just too bad. It was too low for the settings that were possible on the camera. Without doing the timed exposure, I couldn't do it. So we came away from there without a photo taken. Well, sorry, I did take a photo. In fact, I took two on the same frame. I'm new to this 120 lock and I did a double exposure accidentally on the first one. And because it was exposed twice, that frame, it's actually quite well exposed, although it's a double exposure and not worth looking at. We went from Humford Woods to Blythe Quayside. Nice open space and suited to the fact that the sun was getting quite low. We took photos there. I finished the roll and we got 16 exposures, 15 at Blythe Quayside, sorry, 14 at Blythe Quayside and 2 at Humford Woods. In fact, it was 15 at Blythe because 2 were on one frame at Humford Woods. Sox is determined to join in here. When I got the film back, I've never developed a 120 film before, and I have to say the experience was quite pleasant. The film went onto the spool very easily and we developed as normal, same timings as if it was 35mm. The film was dried and I cut it into 4-shot lengths, negative, for scanning. Scanning was not much fun at all. First of all, the plus stick that I use, that I'm very happy with, is 35mm only. My previous negative scanner I still own. It's a Canon Scan 8800F, and it doesn't work on my computer anymore because Canon will not produce drivers for Windows 10. Excuse me. So I couldn't use the Canon, and I had to cobble something together, which I used my tablet. I did a search for white screen, had a white screen on my tablet, had a little framework to rest my phone on to hold it flat and level with the tablet screen, and I used the 120 film holder from the Canon Scan 8800. The scanning wasn't great. I don't like phone scans. The film itself, I don't know if this is Fomapan or whether it's something with 120, but it curls when it's cut. I put it in the file, loose leaf file, and it was a day later that I did the scans, and once I took them out of the sleeve, it just curled up, like, you know, the party streamers that you blow and the thing comes out, and when you stop blowing it went back in. It was like that with the film. And trying to get that into a film holder wasn't good at all. Sorry, I seem to be getting a cough here, but I'm going to stop talking and show you the photos. Unfortunately, there's only 4 photographs to show you that I'm anywhere happy with, because of the difficulty of handling the film, trying to get it in the frame for the scanner. I dropped it a few times. Some of them were dusty, which if I get a proper scanner I'll clean them and scan them again, but this really was a test film. Some of them were scratched, probably for the same reason, because I kept dropping them and trying to pick them up. So we've got 4 photos. We'll have a look at them, but all I will say is that if you see any faults in them, it's from the scanning technique, not the camera. Conclusion. A 72-year-old camera. The lens is great. It's sharp. And I didn't see too much problem with flare. Although I'm sure it's possible, because I think it might be coated, but I think it's only a single coating. The 4 shutter speeds work and seem to be accurate, and the negatives that you get from a camera like this are much bigger than the 35mm negative, so you don't have to enlarge them very much for the screen, so the appearance of grain is much diminished. So it's a camera you need to think about. You have to be careful with the exposures. The smartphone light meter helps and seems to be accurate. So what will I do with the camera? I'm keeping the camera, of course, it's a family heirloom, and I will use it again, but not until I've got a proper scanner. I need a proper 120 scanner, but at the moment I'm retired. I can't go out and spend hundreds of pounds for another scanner. So I'm going to be sticking to 35mm for the moment, and if I do source a 120 film scanner, then we'll go back to using this one. So next it'll be more 35mm fun, I hope, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. Goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Socks.